said that?
So on the line, for 5 minutes, dealing with all this silliness, is Malissa Smith. Melissa, you there?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning. We're being silly to start off with this morning.
Oh, that's good. Gets everybody relaxed.
Absolutely. Well, so here's the deal. I was, with this Ishika Lay case and with the tragic events that happened to her, I was looking around and found your blog, which is at girlboxing.wordpress.com. Mm-hmm. Tell me about yourself and the blog, please.
Sure. Well, Melissa Smith is my name. I started the Girl Boxing blog actually just a year ago, kind of as a labor of love, because I just am very passionate about the sport. I've been practicing boxing for about the last 15 years on and off. Having, I guess, first learned the techniques of boxing from my uncle when I was 12 years old, and then sort of put it in the back of my head and always had an interest in boxing but never quite got back to it. By the time I did, I was in my early 40s, so any idea of a boxing career was certainly not going to be the case. But it was certainly a fantastic way of not only gaining fitness but just meeting an extraordinary group of people and having a tremendous amount of fun. I live in Brooklyn, New York, so I've been able to box out of Gleason's Gym, which in and of itself is a storied place. And if you ever want to feel immersed in the world of boxing, that's the place to go.
It is. That's where, do you know Peter Reyes?
Yes, I've certainly heard of him.
Okay. He was at Ashika's match. And I actually emailed Gleason's Gym this weekend because he was quoted about what he saw, and the head guy actually emailed me back immediately, which is to his credit, and Bruce, I think. And,
Bruce Silverglade.
And he emailed me back and said, call on Monday. He's training here on Monday, and he doesn't have a cell phone. So, obviously the family wants to know more about what happened, but that's
certainly,
that is one heck of a gym, and there's been some serious prizes that's come out of that place.
Well, they certainly have, and they've also been, a huge supporter of women's boxing. They've had professional women's boxers training there since the 70s. And, as soon as amateur boxing became legal throughout the country in 1993, they've been a huge proponent for women, and it's sort of like a sanctuary, if you will, for women's boxers. And now there are champion women's boxers who are trainers, women such as Belinda Laracuente and Alicia Ashley. So it's a great place. The
first time that I saw, and I think America as a whole, tuned in and realized what women's boxing was the Christy Martin fight that was before a Mike Tyson fight, I believe. Oh,
right, yeah, in 1996.
Yeah, but it was a little different than the way that Ishika is fighting. It's that now it's with. And I think it's the difference between amateur and pro, but there was, there was headgear, obviously, in Ashika's fight. But that one, good grief, I think that was a bloody fight, if I recall it.
Yes, it was. And, some women's boxing has come a long way, but, boxing is a violent sport. And whether it's men or women boxing, there are real opportunities for injuries, serious and not so serious. And blood in the ring is kind of part of the game, whether it's just from a bloody nose or something more serious can happen. As you say, with Ishika, was boxing in the PAL, Police Athletic League Championships. It was the last championship amateur fights to kind of solidify the last three boxers to have the opportunity to box in the Olympic trials ahead of the 2012 Summer Olympics, which will be the debut of women's boxing for the first time since it appeared as an amateur sort of exhibition sport in 1902.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a long time in coming. And as you said in the intro, Ishika is an extraordinary fighter, terrific skills, and not only that, but what we call a boxer's heart. She's a person who fights and fights hard for whatever she wants and needs. And within the amateur context, yes, she wore headgear and likely also, I didn't see the pictures, but she likely also had protection for her abdominal area, her lower abdominal area. The thing that is concerning was the quote from her trainer, who said that she had sparred 10 days prior to the match at PAL championships and had been experiencing serious headaches since that time. Now, whether or not she had had the opportunity to go to her physician and be checked out, we don't know, or certainly I don't know. But it's the kind of thing that should be setting off huge, big red lights to say, go to the doctor.
You said it, and it's something the listeners can take a lesson on, and in anything, whether it's your kids playing soccer and boy or girl had a header and has had headaches. You can't play with head injuries, with the CTE and all the stuff. Early onset of ALS. A headache is God's way of saying, hey, dummy, you got something going on, and if it keeps happening, you need to get it checked out, and you got to depend on, in Ishika's case, the people surrounding you and the people putting on the event to do so. And we'll get into more of that as time goes on, but Melissa, you're definitely right there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's certainly if you're in a fight and in an amateur fight, excuse me, and you experience any kind of a knockdown blow, you will be required to go to a doctor and probably have a CT scan. I think that's a requirement, or an MRI, or certainly some kind of treatment that would be diagnostic in nature, and you can be denied the opportunity to box for a period of months or years, depending upon the severity of the injury and the number of times you've been injured. Where there isn't any kind of sanctioning or any kind of control is when you're in the training process. And as you say, you have to rely upon your support network to assist you in that process.